Listen to this. 2024 Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is now offering his supporters a 10% cut of whatever money his camp raises. Listen.
Well, I don't like this system as it exists. But if that's the system we're going to have, my view is let's democratize that and make it possible for everybody to make money as well.
Getting a piece of the pie here. Donors will have to pass a background check and comply with federal election commission rules. Let's talk to Erick Erickson, host of the Erick Erickson radio show. This is something. I mean, he's a successful tech entrepreneur. He used $10 million or more of his own funding, his own money, for his campaign. But he's pivoting on political fundraising. Could he be onto something here?
Probably so. Keep in mind, the reason he's doing it is because you have to have a threshold of, I think, 40,000 donors, small dollar donors, to get on the debate stage, and he's struggling to do that. So this is a way to incentivize people. Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, is going to give people $20 gift cards for every dollar they donate. So both guys trying to innovate. Vivek's is interesting because there are bundling rules for the FEC. So if someone might be a lobbyist, they would probably not be able to do this. But run-of-the-mill person, they can do it. There will be FEC compliance they may not know about, though. They could get themselves in trouble.
Well, I'm just curious because obviously there's going to be haters. There's going to be people who are concerned that this is some violation of campaign funding. There are critics calling this a marketing or a pyramid scheme. His lawyers have approved all of this. The latest numbers that we've been able to catch up with are that he passed over 60,000 donors, the average donor giving $30.94. That's $1.8 million in fundraising if those 60,000 just gave the minimum. So he's not doing too bad.
No, he's not. He's certainly trying to catch lightning in a bottle and stand out. He's been doing a lot of interviews. He's not afraid to go anywhere to answer questions. He's an intriguing candidate, but still a lot of people wonder, where's your path to victory? He's still not polling significantly around the country, but he's doing what he can to get his name out there, and this certainly has us talking about him.
Well, and also, I can say this word, also, he is now in the double digits in terms of voter approval. There are those who like him, and that's closing in on Governor Ron DeSantis's percentage of voter popularity for the GOP party. Do you think that this is going to work to get him even more popularity in the polls?
Look, I think it definitely builds his name ID, and as name ID goes up, his polling goes up. His favorability rating is high, but his overall polling isn't yet. He's starting to trend up, though. He and Tim Scott both trending up, and the DeSantis team has to worry about this. The Trump team is not worried about it. But how far can a guy go who still has low name ID but isn't in politics? Well, the last guy the GOP put up who wasn't in politics but got good name ID was named Donald Trump, and look what happened to him.
I'm wondering what Vivek's relationship is to the former president. What are you hearing?
You know, there are a lot of people who view his campaign as somewhat of a proxy for the president. He defends the president. He went to Palm Beach to take a strong stand against the indictment in Florida. He's attacked other candidates for not being sufficiently loyal to Donald Trump. So some people look at him and say, well, he's really a proxy for Donald Trump. I don't think so. I think he's just trying to grapple with how do you navigate Donald Trump and get ahead. A friend of mine who's a U.S. senator says really it's the most expensive race for a cabinet position ever, which ultimately is if Trump got elected, he would probably wind up in the cabinet.
Well, but Vivek could end up being vice presidential candidate for sure if he doesn't improve significantly to catch up with Mr. Trump. He does qualify for the debate now. What would separate him from other candidates?
You know, look, he's an innovator. He's a tech guy. We're a country that's increasingly technological. He is from that sphere. He is a job creator. He's not a career politician. He's got a story to sell. Plus, he's from a family of immigrants. He's got a real American dream story to tell people.
And he's young. He's only 37 years old. Erick Erickson, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.